drawing a schematic diagram, and then I will draw a free body diagram. So this is the ceiling. Okay, so I will write it as ceiling, CEILING. So this is my ceiling. Now a rope is hanging from the ceiling. Okay, so tension is always a pulling force, and then a gymnast. Okay, you see a gymnast is hanging like this. We can draw the diagram as drawn in the book. So this is like this. This is the gymnast's head, and then the gymnast. Okay, so this is the gymnast. So G, I will take G for gymnast, C for ceiling, and R for rope. So this is my gymnast. Okay, and this is my rope. Okay, so I have to find out the weight of the gymnast first. That is the first bit of the question. So without drawing a free body diagram, I can go straight for the weight. So A, weight is equal to, the magnitude of weight is written as W is equal to mg. So in place of m, that is given 50 kg, 50 kg, and in place of g I will write 9.8. This is a multiplication, 9.8 meter per second square. Kg meter per second square is Newton, and 50 into 9.8 is 98 into 5, that is 500 minus 10, or you can get 490 Newton, isn't it? So the weight of the gymnast is 490 Newton. Now, in order to answer the second question, what is the second question? What force does the rope exert on her? Because here the gymnast is important for us, because we want to find out the force that the rope is exerting on the gymnast, or that is what is called the tension in the rope. Okay, so I will draw the free body diagram. So free body diagram of the gymnast, free body diagram for the gymnast, free body diagram for the gymnast. Okay, so when I draw the free body diagram, I will take a point, then I will draw x-axis like this, then my y-axis like this, and then I will show what are the forces acting on the gymnast. Okay, one is the weight. You see how many forces actually are involved in this problem? Can anybody say how many forces are involved in this problem? Can any one of you will say how many forces are involved in this problem? How many bodies are there actually? Can you say?
Two.
How many bodies? Actually,
Sir, two.
there are 4 bodies. One is ceiling, another is rope, third is gymnast, and fourth is earth, the invisible earth. Now, so can you say how many forces are there? There are 4 bodies, and how many forces are there? Okay, important forces. Of course, there will be many forces. Even the ceiling is also being attracted by earth, but basically, you see the gymnast is being pulled by earth. So I can write it as force of earth on gymnast, force of earth on gymnast. And that is written as, basically we call it as weight. So the magnitude will be W. Then the gymnast also attracts the earth. So force of gymnast on earth, that is also there. Okay, so if one is action, the other will be reaction. Then the rope has negligible mass, so the rope doesn't have mass, so the rope is not being attracted by earth, or earth is not being attracted by rope. So now, but the rope is exerting a force on the gymnast, so I can write force of the rope on gymnast, force of rope on gymnast, and that is what is called tension. So I will write it as tension, isn't it? I will write it as tension, as I called it weight. Similarly, this is tension. Similarly, the gymnast is also pulling the rope, so I will write force of gymnast on a rope, force on gymnast on a rope. Then the ceiling is being pulled by the rope. Now for the time being, let us assume that actually a ceiling is also being attracted by the earth, and the ceiling is also attracting the earth, so that we are not going to include. Now the ceiling is being pulled by the rope, so that I can write force of ceiling on rope, force of ceiling on a rope, and then another force is there, comma, force of rope on ceiling, force of rope on ceiling. That's why I told you that you have to choose the, out of all these four bodies, whose free body diagram you are going to draw, because for you the important is gymnast, because the question asks what is the force of the rope on the gymnast. So I have drawn the free body diagram for the gymnast. Which force I will include? I will include those forces which are being applied by others on the gymnast. Which force I am not going to include? The forces the gymnast exert on others, that I am not going to include. So I will not include force of gymnast on earth, force of gymnast on a rope, that I am not going to include. And this two naturally doesn't contain the gymnast, so these two will also not be included. This one, this one. So I will include force of earth on gymnast, which is called W. So this I have included. This is included. Now force of rope on gymnast, that also I will include. This is tension. Okay, this is tension. Now you see, the next important thing is that the gymnast is in equilibrium. The gymnast is in equilibrium. So which Newton's laws I am going to apply? I will apply Newton's first law, because my acceleration is a 0 here. Okay, so I will apply Newton's first law. In which component? In y component. So sum of all Fy is equal to 0, and I will write T minus W is equal to 0, or T is equal to W, because I have already found out my W, so my T will be 490 Newton. So 490 Newton is enough for the tension of the rope in order to support a gymnast of mass 50 kg. Is it clear to you? Now we'll go to the third part of the problem. And naturally the direction of the force is in the upward direction, isn't it? So the magnitude is 490 Newton and direction is towards positive y-axis or vertically upward. Now the third part is what is the tension at the top of the rope. Okay, so now who is important? Now who is important for you? Now who is important for you in order to find out the tension at the top of the rope? Gymnast important, earth important, rope important, or ceiling important?
Ceiling.
Rope, because you are to find out the force on the rope. You see, look at this bit. What is the tension at the top of the rope? So for you, now the rope is important. So you have to draw the free body diagram for the rope. So now I will be drawing the free body diagram for the rope. Here, let me change. So I will write free body diagram for the rope. Okay, so this I will make rope. Okay, so now the interaction of rope and ceiling is important for me. So what are the forces that I am going to include will be one thing. The first is the ceiling. The ceiling is pulling the rope. The ceiling is pulling the rope. So the force of ceiling on rope. Now this I am going to include. Which I am not going to include. I will not include this one. Okay. G and earth. Okay. This also I am not going to include. Okay. This I will include because force exerted on rope by others will be included. So this I will include. And force of ceiling on rope, that also I will include because this ceiling is exerting a force. So this also I will include. R on C, I will not include. Okay, what rope is doing to others is immaterial for me. It is not important. So this also I will not include. So I will include two forces. Force of gymnast on the rope and force of ceiling on the rope. Because the ceiling is pulling the rope, so I can write it as TC on R. That means force of the ceiling on rope, and that is upwards. Then force of gymnast on a rope. The gymnast is pulling the rope downwards. Okay, that I will write. So I will not show this W. Now I will show T because these are all tensions. That's why I have written T Z on R. Okay, T Z on R. So this is how. Again, I will apply Newton's first law because it is in equilibrium. So sum of Fy is equal to 0. Now here I will write T C on R. T C on R minus R. Let me finish. So just wait. Let me write it a little bit. So I will write T C on R. T C on R minus T Z on R. G on R is equal to 0. Okay. So if this is equal to 0, then I can write that TC on R is equal to TZ on R. But what is TG on R? Because they are action and reaction. So the magnitude of TZ on R, TZ on R is also equal to, or the magnitude only, equal to T R on G. Okay, T R on G. So we have already found out the tension of the rope on the gymnast, that we have already shown in bit B, isn't it? And that is 490 Newton, isn't it? So TR on G, we have found out it to be 490 Newton. So the TZ on R is also 490 Newton. Okay, so because TG on R is equal to TC on R, so the tension of the ceiling on the rope is also equal to 490 Newton. Now, what does that imply? That implies that at the lowest end, you have got the tension 490 Newton, and at the top end also you have got the same tension 490 Newton. Why this thing happens? Because this happens due to a rope you have taken negligible mass. What happens if you take a rope of weight 120 Newton, which is done in example 5.2? Suppose my rope is not negligible, my rope doesn't have negligible mass, but it has a mass, then what will happen to my tension? Will it be same 490 Newton throughout the length of the rope, or it will be different at different points? That we have to find out. Is it clear to you? Now in example 5.2, I will be working out by taking a rope which has 120 Newton weight. Okay, so this is example 5.2. Okay, and again I have to find out the tension at the top and the tension at the bottom, and let us see whether they are same or different. Okay, so now my rope has a weight of 120 Newton. Okay, so when I will draw the free body diagram for gymnast, so if I let me draw the free body diagram for the gymnast, what will happen? So I will first draw the free body diagram for the gymnast in this new situation. So I'll free body diagram for the gymnast. Okay, again they are all in equilibrium, so
Why
Ay
it
is
is
equal to
120
0.
Newton?
And what are the forces acting on the gymnast? The gymnast is being pulled by the rope. So here I will write tension of the rope on the gymnast, isn't it? Tension of the rope on gymnast, okay, this I will write tension of the rope on gymnast. Similarly, the gymnast is being pulled by earth, so I will write it as force of force. I will write it as force of earth, force of earth on gymnast, force of earth on gymnast. Just wait. So here I will write it as force of earth on gymnast, but force of earth on gymnast is weight, so I can erase this, the whole thing, and I will simply write weight of the gymnast. Okay, I can write weight of the gymnast, and again I will apply Newton's first law, and what I get, I will get TR on G minus WG T R on G, TR on G, okay, minus WG is equal to 0, is equal to 0. This is minus. So I will get TR on G, or the tension of the rope on the gymnast. That means at the lowest point of the rope, your tension is 490 Newton, isn't it? Earlier, like the earlier one. So I will find out the TR on G, TR on G is equal to WG, and WG we have already found out, because you see this is WG, weight of the gymnast of mass 50 kg is 490 Newton. Okay, in order to find out the tension at the upper end of the rope, at the lower end we have found out, at the upper end what will be the tension. So in order to do that, what I will do, I will free body diagram of the rope I will draw. So here I will change a gymnast, and I will just I will draw the free body diagram for the rope, isn't it? So what forces I will show, those are being exerted by others on the rope. One is the ceiling. The ceiling is pulling the rope upward. Okay, so I will write TC on R. So TC on R, TC ceiling on rope. And now you see, now the rope rope has a mass, and that rope has a mass, and the rope is also, there is a earth, the rope, the gymnast is pulling the rope. So I will show TZ on R. Just wait. So because the gymnast is also applying a force by pulling the rope, so I will write it as TZ on R, because the gymnast is also pulling the rope. In addition to that, weight of the rope, that is also there. Now the whole weight of the rope is, now the earth, earlier the earth was not attracting the rope because the rope doesn't have mass. It has negligible mass or zero mass, but now it has mass, so the earth will not leave it. So you will show that the force of the gymnast is in downwards you have got two forces, upward you have got one forces. So now you can write your equation that sum of all Fy is equal to 0, and then I will apply Newton's first law. I have already applied, just I will use my symbols. So I will write on the positive y-axis I have got a T C on R, T C on R, and on the negative axis I have got sum of two quantities. One is Tg on R, Tg on R, okay, plus WR, weight of the rope, and that is equal to 0. Okay, or the left hand, this is equal to this one, or I can write this one as this is equal to this. So I will take the negative term to the other side and put a equality here. So the tension of the ceiling on rope at the, or the tension at the topmost point of the rope, also I can write it as T top. Top means tension of the rope at the top. Okay, T bottom I have already found it out to 490 Newton. So TC on R or T top, tension at the top, is equal to weight of the rope. Now rope has 120 Newton. So I will write 120 Newton is the weight of the rope, plus the Tg on R that I have already found out. The tension of the gymnast or the force of the gymnast on a rope is 490 Newton, that we have found out, isn't it? 490 Newton. So if I add them, I will get 610 Newton, and that is natural because now the ceiling has to support extra 120 Newton. So this rope must have a um, a tolerance limit of extra 120 Newton. So for 490 Newton tension will not be enough. So at the topmost point, the tension of the rope is 610 Newton. So it starts with a 490 Newton at the lowest point, and at the highest topmost point, it has 610 Newton. So the rope has different tensions at different points when the rope have uniform mass throughout its length. But when the rope does not have any mass, then the tension throughout the length of the rope is same. Okay, is it clear? So now this is example 5.1 and example 5.2. Now if we go, this is all about Newton's first law, applications of Newton's first law. Now if I want to apply Newton's second law, of course there is a test or understanding. So let us do the test or understanding first. Let me read out the test or understanding. A traffic light of weight W hangs from two lightweight cables. So where this frame is not clear. Okay, a traffic light of weight W hangs from two lightweight cables, one on each side of the light. Each cable hangs at a 45-degree angle from the horizontal. What is the tension on each cable? Okay, that we have to do. So what is happening actually, why this is not going? Okay. So a traffic light of weight W hangs from two lightweight cables, one on each side of the light. Well, yes, now it is. So this is a traffic light. Okay. So I will call it as T, means traffic light. Then there are two ropes, okay, who are supporting the traffic light. Okay. So these are the supports. And you see the angle is, this angle, it makes with the horizontal is 45 degree. Similarly, here also with this ground it has made 45 degree. But I have to, if I will take this angle in the actual sense, then I will find it out to be 135 degree. Okay. So this is the situations. This is the traffic light. These are the hanging cable. C means cable. Okay. Now I will draw the free body diagram of the traffic light. So FBD for traffic light. FBD for traffic light. FBD for traffic light. Okay. So now what I will draw, I will take the traffic light, reduce it to a point, then I will draw my two axes, X and Y, name them, one as X and the other as Y. Then I will show the forces. One force is acting like this, sorry, this is not 45 degree. So let us become a big angle. So now this is equal, okay, this is 45 degree. Similarly, this side also it is 45 degree, equal magnitude. This angle is 45 degree and this angle is 135 degree. Now I will wiggle it out. I will call it tension. Both the tensions are same in magnitude. Okay. So the weight is acting vertically downwards, the traffic light's weight, and I will show the forces W, and this force is balanced by these two tensions. So now this T will be resolved into two components. One is T sine 45 degree, T sine 45 degree, T sine 45 degree, and the other will be, oh sorry, this is T cos 45 degree. This is T cos 45 degree, the horizontal component, and the vertical component is T sine 45 degree. This is T sine 45 degree, sine 45 degree. Similarly, this is wiggled out. One will be T cos 135 degree, T cos 135 degree, and the other is sine 135 degree. But sine 135 and sine 45 are same, so I can write it as also T sine 45 degree, because sine 45, sine 135 are same, so I can write it like this. That is up to me. Okay. So I will, because it is an equilibrium, so I will apply again Newton's first law in y component form. So sum of all Fy is equal to 0. So now I write here, there are 2t sine 45. So I will write 2t sine 45 degree, sine 45 degree minus W is equal to 0, or 2 sine 45 degree is equal to W, because it is in equilibrium. So the forces must be equal and opposite. Okay, so we have to find out the tension T. So T is equal to W divided by 2 sine 45. But sine 45 is 1 by root 2. So 2 into 1 by root 2. So 2 by root 2 is root 2. So finally I will get W by root 2. So the tension on each cable must be 1 by root 2 times the weight of the traffic light. And this is test your understanding 5.1. Test your understanding 5.1. So now I have worked out example 5.1 and 5.2 for you, and test your understanding 5.1 for you. And all these are on Newton's first law of motion. Okay, when the body is in equilibrium. But what happens when the body is not in equilibrium? Application of a force, then what will happen? So we will apply, in that case we will apply Newton's second law. This is the vector form and this is the component form. Sum of all fx is equal to max. If it is not 0, then it must be product of two things, mass and acceleration. That is what is Newton's second law of motion. Then immediately we will go to another problem. That is example 5.8. So let me clear the frame, and in the meantime let me read out the problem. An elevator and its load have a combined mass of 800 kg. The elevator is initially moving downward at 10 meters per second. It slows to a stop with constant acceleration in a distance of 25 meters. What is the tension T in the supporting cable while the elevator is being brought to rest? Okay, so this is what is the outline of the problem. Okay, so let me draw an elevator. So the elevator is like this. It's a closed box kind of thing with a supporting cable. Okay, and this is the cable supports. Now if a person like, he can stand here, isn't it, on the inside the elevator. Now the elevator is moving downwards, so its direction, initial velocity has a direction along the negative y-axis. And what the elevator is actually doing, after traveling for 25 meter, the elevator came to a stop. The elevator's final velocity becomes 0. The initial velocity is given because it is downwards, so you can write this v naught y is equal to minus 10 meter per second. You cannot write the speed like this, but you can write the velocity like this, because velocity is a vector quantity. It has both magnitude and direction. And then this reduction in speed from 10 meter per second to 0 meter per second happened within a distance of 25 meter, because it is moving in the negative y-axis. So the displacement is also negative. So y minus y naught is equal to minus 25 meter. So now everything is ready. So now I can calculate the acceleration of the elevator. And what will be the direction of the acceleration? Will it be upward or downward? Anybody who can say? What will be the direction of the acceleration of the elevator? Will it be downward or upward? Yes?
Downward.
Downward. Okay. Anybody? Any other? Any other? All are keeping quiet, just like hermits. Now,
Downward.
Simon, why did you think that it will be downward? Already.
No, sir. Upward.
Yes, because it is the velocity is already
Because
downward.
the velocity is decreasing.
Yes.
Yes. Velocity.
Yes, right. Because it will be upward. Because if the velocity is already downward, and if the acceleration will be also downward, then this speed would have increased. But this speed is decreasing. So the acceleration must be pointing in the upward direction. What is its value? We do not know. But at least we know its direction, that it is upward. So we will be getting a positive acceleration. Let us see whether we are getting it wrong. I know my v naught y, I know my vy, I know my y minus y naught. The only thing is I have to find out my ay. So I will apply an equation which I have combined the two equations, position equation and velocity equations, and I know a equation which looks like Vy square, isn't it, is equal to V naught y square, V naught y square plus 2ay into y minus y naught, ay into y minus y naught. Let us take the sign conventions. First, let us say that Vy is equal to 0. So this is 0. So I can write 2ay into y minus y naught, y minus y naught is equal to minus V naught y square, initial velocity square. So what will be my ay? So my ay will be minus V naught y square, V naught y square divided by 2 into y minus y naught, y minus y naught, isn't it? But I know my V naught y, it is minus 10, so minus 10 square will be 100 meter square second square, and there is the minus sign. So I write minus 100 meter square by second square. That way, that I will get the numerator, meter square by second square. Let us calculate the denominator. Y minus y naught is minus 25. So minus 25 into 2 is minus 50. So minus 50, and there is a minus, so minus minus plus, and I will get 2 meter per second square. If I do the algebra, 100 by 50 is 2. So my acceleration is positive, and my guess is right that the acceleration should be positive. Now I have to find out the tension. So I must draw a free body diagram for the elevator. So because I have to find out the tension. So free body diagram for the elevator. Free body diagram for the elevator. Elevator. Okay. So I will reduce the elevator to a point. Elevator is reduced to a point. I'll draw my x-axis. I'll draw my y-axis. Okay. Then I will show the weight of the elevator. What are the forces that are acting on the elevator? Because the elevator has mass, so earth is pulling it down. So I can show the weight of the elevator, the weight of the elevator. Then the rope is pulling the elevator upward. So that is what is called the tension. Now, can you say whether they will be equal or they will be different? The T vector and the W vector, will they be same length or of different length? Yes. Will they be of same length or different length? Yes. Now, why are you keeping silent? Whether the W vector, that is the weight vector, and the tension vector will be of same magnitude. Their directions is different, that is right. But what about their magnitude? Will they be same or different? Shibun, will they be same or different?
Is it in equilibrium or not?
No, already we have found out an acceleration of 2 meter per second square. So how they will be in equilibrium?
They will be
No,
different.
sir. Different.
Who will be bigger? The top one. Yes, you are right. This will be bigger, because ultimately the direction of the acceleration is the direction of the force, because your acceleration is directed upward, so the net force must be directed upward. And what is the net force? If you apply Newton's second law, Fy is not equal to 0, then it must be equal to May. So FAY is equal to MAY. Okay, the left hand side is T minus W. So T minus W is equal to MAY, isn't it? Or T is equal to tension in the supporting cable is equal to weight of the elevator plus mass into the acceleration with which the elevator is accelerating. So this is a very important equations. We'll learn about this equation little bit later, just in the next problem. Though that problem is also like example 5.2, it is not this they are in your lesson plan, but we have to do it in order to understand the concept of apparent weightlessness. What does that mean? Okay, so now we got that the tension in the supporting cable of the elevator should be equal to T is equal to W plus MAY, or W is mg. So m is taken common, and then I will find out g plus ay, g plus ay. Now this is a beautiful equations. First let us do the calculations, then I will again come back to this equation. Mass is 800, z is 9.8 meter per second square, and you have found out your ay to be 2 meter per second square. So because the tension is a force, they will be in Newton, so I have written Newton. So 9.8 into plus 2 is 11.8. So basically it will be 80 into 118 Newton, isn't it? Or if you multiply 0, it will be 8 into 1180. 1180 Newton. So 11 into 8 is 8,800 plus 640. 8,000, and you can do the calculation and you will get the tension of the will be 9440 Newton. 9440 Newton. Okay, so this is what the supporting cable must have, this amount of tension, because not only it will support the weight of the elevator and others, it will also generate an extra weight of how much? 1600 Newton, isn't it? So that is being added. That's why you are getting such a big quantity. Now the next problem is there. Suppose a 50 kg woman is standing on a weighing machine. That is what is called a bathroom scale. Isn't this lady is standing on a bathroom scale to find out its weight, whether she has gained weight, she has lost weight, or her weight has remained unchanged. So she took a weighing machine and stand on it one fine morning in the same elevator, which is moving with 2 meter per second square acceleration, moving downwards but with an acceleration 2 meter per second square upwards. Okay, now how we are going to measure something? Now suppose this is a weighing machine, then when you are not standing on it, the needle pointing 0, isn't it? The needle point in the direction 0. But when you stand on it, you are actually exerting a force on the bathroom scale. So I will call this weighing machine or bathroom scale as S and the gymnast as a Z. So when the gymnast is standing on the weighing machine, the gymnast is actually applying a force on the scale, and I can write it as force of the gymnast on scale. Scale means that bathing or weighing machine. Force of gymnast on scale. The scale will not remain silent. The scale will also apply a force on the gymnast. So Fs on G. Fs on G. Because if we assume this scale as a surface, then this is nothing but the normal force, because that is what is the definition of normal force, because that is the perpendicular force which is generated by the surface. Here the surface is the scale. Now this normal force actually gives you the reading. So if a 50 kg lady will exert a force on the scale will also exert a equal amount of force in the opposite direction on the gymnast, and that reading is 490 Newton if the elevator is at rest. It is 490 Newton. So the reading will show you 490 Newton. But now the elevator is not at rest. The elevator is moving with a acceleration of 2 meter per second square upwards. So if I draw the free body diagram, so the question is asking what will be the reading on the scale of this gymnast when she is riding this elevator. So I will draw the free body diagram for the woman, because now the woman is important for me, the gymnast, that is the gymnast is important for me. So I will draw the free body diagram for the gymnast, because now the gymnast is standing on the weighing machine, isn't it? So the arc will attract the gymnast. So this is the weight of the gymnast, and there is a normal force, because now the gymnast is standing on the weighing machine. A normal force is acting upwards. So this is my N. And because the AY, the net force, the acceleration is in the direction upward, so the net force must also in the direction of positive y-axis. So N minus, now this T, in place of this T, I will write N, okay. So the equation will be only the symbols will be changed. So this is N minus W is equal to MAY, and thus N is equal to W. So the normal force will become W plus MAY, but so in place of all these T, I will write N, isn't it? So N is equal to mg plus ay. Now mass of the gymnast is 50 kg. So in place of this 800, I will write 50. Okay, so this is 50, and 50 plus 9.8 plus 2. So you will be getting 180 plus into 5. 180 into 5. So 100 into 5 is 500, 18 into 5 is 90. So I will be getting 590. So you see the weight of the gymnast was 490 Newton, but you will be getting a normal force of 590 Newton. That means your scale is showing an extra weight of 100 Newton, isn't it? Sorry, an extra weight of 100 Newton. It was 490. So yes, an extra weight of 100 Newton. So now this will be 590 Newton, not 490, but 590 Newton. So the lady will be surprised that I have gained a weight of 100 Newton, but actually she has not gained. The effects is due to the accelerating elevator in the upward direction. Elevator is moving downwards, but the accelerating upward. So I must say that due to the effect of an accelerating elevator, a lady of 490 Newton will see her weight not as 490 Newton, but 590 Newton in the weighing machine, and she will wrongly conclude that probably I have gained 190 extra weight. So her new reading will become 590 Newton. Now what will happen? So this is a very important equations, isn't it? That N is equal to mg plus ay that I have written these equations, because from these equations we will be getting all these kind of conclusions. Okay. So now what will happen if you will be riding a decelerating elevator or an accelerating, sorry, or an elevator with an acceleration of -2 meter per second square. Suppose instead of 2 meter per second square, the elevator's acceleration is downwards with -2 meter per second square, then what will happen? Now the lady will lose 100 Newton. So the ladies knew, because this N will become M into Z minus AY, Z minus AY, isn't it? G minus AY. So minus means 9.8 minus 2 will be 7.8. So 50 into 7.8, 50 into 7.8 will be 390 Newton. So it will lose 100 Newton. So this will become 390 Newton. So the lady will be very happy that she has lost 100 Newton. But again, that is due to the effect of the decelerating elevator. So this equation, this N is equal to M into Z plus minus AY, Z plus minus AY gives apparent sensation of different weights depending upon the elevator's acceleration. Now a peculiar thing happens when you will feel a apparent weightlessness when N will be 0, and N will be 0 means G plus minus AY is equal to 0, or G is equal to AY. That means if you take these equations, N is equal to M into only the negative acceleration, okay, deceleration, that is important. Positive will not give you, because the normal force has to be 0. So when G is equal to AY, at that time N is equal to 0. Okay, when G is equal to AY, N is equal to 0, and you will feel that you don't have any weight. But that feeling is apparent, virtual, it appears to be, but actually that doesn't imply that the earth has stopped pulling you. The earth is pulling you as usual, but you will not feel the sensation of weight. That's why that word is called apparent weightlessness. So apparent weightlessness happens when the acceleration is negative and exactly same as the value of acceleration due to gravity. Okay, and this thing is encountered inside a spaceship also. When the spaceship is orbiting, okay, then you will feel the same kind of thing. Or in free fall also you will have these sensations of weightlessness. So but this all these sensations are apparent. So if somebody will ask you during free fall, do the earth pull you? Do you have a weight? Yes, the earth is pulling you, you have a weight, but you will lose the sensation of weight. That bharipan will not be there with you, isn't it? That is very important. Bharipan tab aayega, the heaviness will come when you will be riding an elevator moving with a positive acceleration. That lightness of being you will feel when you will be riding an elevator who is decelerating or who is accelerating negatively. And you will have the complete weightlessness feeling if you will be falling freely, or if I will cut the elevator supporting cable, then that will, the elevator along with you will have a free fall. This is the elevator's cable. If I will cut it, then there will be a free fall. And you know, free fall means G is equal to 9.8 meter per second square. So I hope I have made you clear about the apparent weight and apparent weightlessness. So in the next class, we'll read a new concept of frictional forces. Okay?
Okay.
Yes? Yes. That somebody has asked me, actually I told him to answer that questions, but you can talk to your friends what they in other sections what they are doing. Actually I have thought of asking our colleagues but I have forgotten to ask. Hopefully you have a class tomorrow. Tomorrow I will say, sure. Okay. Okay.
Other 6 o'clock.
Yes, you have asked two questions, whether you have to write the question or you have to mention the number of the questions only and then write the answer, and whether it will be written on papers or it will be written on notebooks. Okay. Normally the best, I don't know, but the best practice is not to write it in loose sheets, because you will place it somewhere else or it will be lost. So it will always be advisable to write it on a notebook, but because you have to send it, so by scanning it or taking a photograph, so whether whether you have to do it in loose sheets and take the snaps, and then you have to attach all those loose sheets, so that will become an assignment notebook also, that I will.
Sir, for scanning the notebook will not problem us. Scanning.
Yes.
For scanning the notebook will not problem us.
Then it will be always better to do it in a notebook, because notebook, your loose sheets can be lost, so notebook will be better. So my advice is to do it in a notebook, and it is up to you whether you write the question or not. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So if you write the question, write and then do the answer, or you mention the question number and also you can do the answer. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sir, also already you are told to do some assignment questions. That same questions were given in that assignment that you have sent in the mail.
No, these assignment questions we have already worked out, these 10 questions. So you have to mention, you have to submit the assignment copies of these 10 questions. Those are sent to you. Okay.
So we had already done before that. You make us practice that questions.
Yeah. Okay. Then good. Then you have to take the photographs. But
so we can then send directly that photos.
Yes, but that has to be, all the 10 should be in a single sheet. Sorry, not in a single sheet. Chronologically, 1, 2, 3,
okay,
4,
sir.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like that. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So thank you very much for your attention. We will meet in the next class.